Hi guys, Rabbi here with Parenting by the Parshah. If you were coming to my office for the first time, you might notice my extensive book collection. And you might wonder how I put them in order. I like everything to have a place. So this top shelf we're just going to ignore because this is my miscellaneous shelf. But if you work your way through, I started with God, prayer, the way that I connect to God. And moving from that, my books moved to Torah and commentaries on the Torah. And then over here we move to the Mishnah, which are the rabbinic commentaries. They come later in time, to the Talmud, and then to Jewish thought. My books move in an orderly progression through our time periods. I like order in my life. It makes sense to me to have my books like this. And outside of this, if you know me, you know that everything has its place in my house, in my office, in my world. So one of the hardest parts about becoming a parent for me was the lack of control I felt when my daughter had her mind of her own. Up until then, I controlled when I woke up, when I went to sleep, when I went on vacation. And then she was born, and I very quickly learned that I have no control pretty much over her daily schedule. When she wakes up, when she goes to sleep, when she wants to eat, she has a mind of her own. And that's been really challenging for me. But it also reminds me a little bit of what God must have been going through when God created the world. In Parshat Bereshit, our Torah portion this week, we're at the beginning. And the Torah says that before there was creation, there was tohu vavohu. There was an organized chaos that God was living in. And if you look at each day of creation, God is slowly learning how to let go of the control of his world. You start by creating the sun and the moon. They rise and fall on their own. You move into plant life and other organisms. And finally, by day 6, God created the people. I imagine that must have been a lot of loss of control for God in that moment. And you see that God really wasn't controlling because Adam and Eve, like a child, ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They ate where they weren't supposed to be eating. They did things on their own. But God, as the parent, was able to let go, knowing that Shabbat, day 7, was next. And this teaches me that Shabbat is that day of check-in. Through the week, we let go of control. We let things happen. We have to learn to roll with the punches or maybe deal with a book that's not in the right place on the shelf. But Shabbat comes and it gives us a moment of order. It gives us a moment of rest, to recuperate, to regroup, and to be together. And so for me, Parshat Bereshit, this beginning, is learning how to live in organized chaos in the tohu vavohu that is my world, but knowing that every week I get Shabbat for us as a family to regroup, to look at where we've gone and how we'll move forward. When it comes to parenting, this too is Torah. Shabbat Shalom.